Hello and welcome. So today's video is going to be a little bit different than what they normally are, just because it's that time that we have had quite a bit of time back from our trip, and I need to hit some information about it that I really want to get out there to you guys. And there's a lot. There really is a lot. I will also have in here some of the photos that we took while we were there, and I'll show you what merch I ended up picking up while we were gone. But I wanted to start off, so with our flights, we chose Southwest to do our flights, which I always choose Southwest when I can. I usually have the best experiences with them, and that did not fail as usual. The trip out was great. We ended up flying into Long Beach, California. So the reason we chose Long Beach is because it is a very small airport and it's a lot less traffic. So I try to do that whenever possible. However, it does cause some issues sometimes to use small airports because they don't have near as many flights going in and out. Whenever we got ready to fly back out, our flight was delayed, and it wasn't really a Southwest issue, it was a weather issue. So our flight ended up going from Dallas to Albuquerque, and our plane actually got delayed the very first flight that it went out that day. So we already knew it was going to be delayed before we even left to go back home. And so it just ended up getting worse and worse and worse. We got to Dallas on our way back home and ended up staying there many hours. So yeah, it was not great. Not great at all. But I understand that it happens. I know it does happen. This is not the first time it's happened, but it's always, anytime we've ever had an issue with a flight, it has been a weather-related flight. So I don't know that if we had left from any other airport that it would have been any better, because they tried from the moment that we got to the very first airport, which we're always really early getting there just to make sure that we don't run into any issues. And so we were there several hours before our flight was actually going to be leaving, and they tried to get us different flights going to different places to be able to get us back sooner. But every airport around that was going to be going to where we needed to be was either the flights had been canceled or they were delayed. So nothing that they could do. They definitely tried, and I'm very thankful for that. So as I had already been flying with Southwest, I will continue to fly with Southwest whenever I can, just because I feel like they go above and beyond to try to make your experience the best as possible. One of the things that happened was when we first went out there that night, we ended up going to Disneyland, just to the downtown Disney part once we landed. So we went to check into our hotel. We ended up staying in a hotel that was actually a mile away from Disneyland, and we just walked back and forth. It was not a bad walk. It was, fairly nice. The temperatures were really great. They were really cool. So that cool walk in the morning and at night wasn't bad. We definitely weren't pouring with sweat when we got there. So that was nice. The very first night when we tried to go in, I had that bum bag, fanny pack, crossbody that I had packed in the video. And in it, I showed you the small tripod that I take. So it opens up to about this wide. It goes up probably, 2 foot tall, maybe max. It's got the little battery pack and stuff on it to where you can spin the camera whatever directions you want it to. And I had that in my fanny pack. When we got ready to go in, you have to go through security one time. So you go in, it takes you to downtown Disney, or if you're not going straight to downtown Disney, you can venture off to the right to go to Disneyland. You can venture off to the left to go to California Adventure. So we were going through the security part the very first night, and it was dark. We were just going to go get dinner and look around in those shops to start with, because it was our very first night there. And we got to security, and of course they do bag checks. So they were checking the bag, and they would not let me enter with that tripod. They said they were not allowed. And we had walked a mile to get there. I didn't want to walk a mile back. Then to turn around and walk a mile back to the park. And I couldn't see paying an Uber to go take it back and come back. So the only thing that we could do was for them to throw it away. Well, that was the very first time I had ever been into Disneyland. It was our very first time to ever go out there. And I use that tripod for food reviews. I also was using that tripod whenever I would film videos here also. So it was the one that sat right here that kind of would do like the over my shoulder views and stuff. And they ended up throwing it away. So I was mad from the beginning. I was mad at Disneyland from the beginning because I couldn't figure out why they needed to throw my tripod away. I explained to them I only use it to sit on the tables when we're doing like food reviews, that I'm a content creator. You know, that was the only reason I was going to be using it for. I would not be using it like up in the air like a selfie stick or anything like that. We were just going to eat and it was already dark. And they didn't care. Now, the man or the guy that was there doing this was very nice. He tried to explain it to the lady that was over security that just had it for food reviews. It was just in my bag from us traveling. Basically, I wasn't even planning on using it that night. It was just in my bag from traveling. But she was like, absolutely not. You cannot go through with that. So he threw it away. We went through. We got food. We looked at the shops and everything, and then we left. The next morning, of course, I was still mad about my tripod. Because we had just gotten there and we were planning on doing the Festival of the Holidays to where we could go around and try all of the foods from the food booths and all the little specials that they had. And I was really planning on doing like a full-fledged food review for you guys because one, we had never been out there, so we were wanting to try everything. And two, because, you know, I was going to use it for content. So, but we just wanted to see like what the food differences are between California and Florida because we do go to Florida so often. Well, of course, I didn't have the tripod, and I don't know if you've ever tried to do it or not, but if you hold your camera up here and try to video, it's hard to eat and drink and do videos while you're sitting there trying to hold a camera. And of course, that would be me getting food on it and, you know, everything. Anyway, it just kind of went all over me because my plans from the beginning were already just like blown. So the next day when we went back to actually go into the parks to enjoy the parks, I was looking on the rules because I knew I had seen in the rules for Disney that you couldn't have a selfie stick with you, which I knew. But it does say that you can have a tripod as long as the tripod does not expand over 6 foot and as long as it does fit inside of a backpack. Well, my tripod fit inside of the little fanny pack that I had right here on me. So definitely smaller than a backpack, and it definitely did not expand 6 foot. Like max it would be 2 foot at the most. I don't even think it went up 2 foot, but maybe 2 foot. And so that just kind of went all over me because, again, I was looking at the rules after the fact and it said, yes, you absolutely can have it as long as it fits this, you know, criteria, and it did. So then I reached out to customer service and I sent an email and I told them, you know, what happened and, you know, was able to like share the tripod that I had with them and everything. And no, it wasn't a real expensive tripod. If it had been, it would have been worse, I think, but it wasn't about the money at that point. It was about the fact that this had happened. And I reached out to customer service. I let them know, and they said, sorry, but we can't help you because we weren't there, and so we there's nothing we can do. Well, I wasn't expecting a whole lot from them, but I kind of thought maybe one of two things would happen. One, they would ask me to send them the information from where I purchased it, which I would have done very easily, and maybe they would have replaced it. Or two, they would have offered a gift card. Now, when Disney gives gift cards out, just know that it is no skin off their backs for the most part, because if they had given me a $25 gift card, which I would have been just fine with, that gift card doesn't really cost them much. So if you use it to get food, that $25 gift card would only buy you a couple of things at most for like basically what they have. Their food and stuff is very overpriced. So to use that little gift card would not have really cost them anything. If I had used it for merch, again, it really wouldn't have cost them anything because their merchandise is so overpriced. And so if you've ever been to like Character Warehouse or the Cast Connections or anything like that, you will understand what their prices are compared to like what they're actually charging, because when their merchandise actually goes on sale, it can drop down to like almost nothing because the stuff is so overpriced. So I was not happy with the fact that they threw it away. I wasn't happy with the fact that I read the rules and I knew that it should have been fine. And then they didn't even bother to do anything. So when I responded to their email of "we're sorry," I was like, like, nothing, like, you have nothing really to say about this, that, this was our first time there and we were planning to make this part of our rotation, and you're just like, sorry. If you've ever gone to Disney and you're kind of in that middle class range, you will understand that the cost of Disney is extreme. Now, to people who have a whole lot of money to just spend on whatever, or they're part of the Club 33 or whatever, it's no skin off their back because they're used to spending that much money and they can. But when you go to Disney and you spend $3,000 or more to get there, stay there, eat, and all that stuff on their properties for a few days, then that's a lot of money to a lot of people. And nothing. They just didn't care. They would make sure security knew about the situation. So, with that being said, I don't think we will be adding Disneyland in California to our rotation of places to go and spend our money. So I would like to go back, but right now it's just too fresh that I felt like their customer service department doesn't really care about their customers. That I don't think I can do that. Now, I do plan to go back to California. We plan to go to Universal Studios, go to the Warner Brothers tour and things like that. So we will be having another trip to California to do that. But at this point, I definitely feel more like my money is valued more in Florida. I feel like customer service is better, and I definitely will be going to Universal because I have never had any issues with Universal in Orlando, and they are quick as anything that if something is wrong or something doesn't go the way that it should, for them to say, can we give you a $25 gift card? Can we give you a $50 gift card? Can we, offer you, treats or anything, something to make you feel like you're valued to them. And yeah, I mean, when we spend as much money as what we do, something as simple as, I'm sorry, but can we buy you lunch, would have been all I needed for, the incident that we had at security. Like just a simple, I'm so sorry. How about a coffee and, a cookie, anything, just to actually act like they cared. And I didn't get that. So it started off already in negative, but I wanted to touch on the cast member bracelets. So we have a video where we made cast member bracelets to hand out to the cast members who go above and beyond to try to make not our experience so much, but other people around us, their experience wonderful. And so we try to keep watch on people. We're talking custodial, we're talking merchandise, rides, like the people that are standing there holding like the wait time signs, any and every person who works there. We try to kind of keep an eye out for people that we feel like are going above and beyond to make that little magical moment. And so we ended up making 84 cast member bracelets. We ended up handing out all 84 cast member bracelets. So as you can see, there definitely are a lot of people that work there that are deserving for things, for stuff, for acknowledgement. And if you've never done something like the cast member bracelets or just giving out the little magical things to people, you probably wouldn't understand. But to be able to walk up to someone and say, thank you, can we please give you a friendship bracelet? And to see their eyes open and just like, sometimes they'll have tears, sometimes they'll just smile, sometimes it'll be, can I give you a hug? It's those little things that go to show that person that they're amazing and that they deserve more than just a paycheck. Like, we appreciate them. And so we ended up giving out all of the cast member bracelets, and it was so rewarding to be able to see the smiles, hear the thank yous, the, oh my goodness, you know, I can't believe you just gave me this. Like, I mean, just those little things, truly amazing. So if you've never done something like that before and you have a trip coming up, I recommend that you try to do something like that, whether it's just taking stickers or, you know, anything. Like I said, we made bracelets, but you can take so many different things just to hand out to people. You don't even have to make anything. You could just buy some stuff to take, and it's just so rewarding for that. And I am absolutely thrilled with that part of it, because there were days it was freezing cold while we were there, and cast members would be bundled up in coats and they would be standing there in the freezing cold, in the rain, everything. And some of them were just absolutely amazing, even with what was going on, you know, around them. So yes, definitely do that if you haven't before. And that is something that we will continue to do. Now, we did a lot of different ones that said a bunch of different things, but we could have done a whole bunch of them that just all said Disney or DCA or, you know, anything. And I truly think they would have all been extremely happy with whatever they got. It just, yeah, I can't say it enough. Try it and see how it goes over for you, because if that doesn't warm your heart, I just don't know of anything that really will, because what they gave back to me in seeing their joy and appreciation was above and beyond what I ever thought it would have been. And so over those few days, we handed those all out, and yeah, I mean, amazing, truly amazing. Okay, so one of the other things that we did while we were there was we did pin trading. So we do collect Disney pins and we do trade Disney pins. And we took a lot with us and we traded a lot of them. So one of the things about trading pins is that you can go to different shops and see different cast members, and they will have a pin board that you take. Now, your pins must say Disney copyright on the back of them to be able to exchange or trade for another pin. They do have limits on what you can do. So one person can only trade 2 pins per day at one location. People do tend to go back to them. We tend to go back to them, but usually it's because if there's 3 of us there, we can all 3 trade 2 pins. So that's 6 pins. So the first time we go by there, we may just, like, I may do 2. And then the next time we go by there, someone else may do 2. And then the next time we go by there, one of the other ones may do 2 pins. And so you can do 2 per day per location. But the thing is if you go and trade them at the beginning and people come throughout the day, then there are going to be other pins there, and there may be pins that you're looking for. So we have a few collections that we get and that we do. But other than that, it's usually just kind of whatever catches our eye. And so that is one of the things that we really do like to do, because the pins are expensive now. A lot of times you can find people that are like getting rid of their collections though. And so you can sometimes buy a nice collection for a little bit of nothing. But there are a lot of fake pins out there that you just really have to be careful about. And so if you want to get into pin collecting, sometimes at the end of the year, which while we were there, they did the 2024 pins. They had the lanyard with the like 6 pins on it that you could get for like half price. So you could go and get a couple of pin lanyards while they're half price and have those pins to trade for other pins that are on the boards or on the cast member lanyards. But just be real careful with them and make sure that you're not trading a good, authentic Disney pin for a fake Disney pin. And there's a lot that goes into knowing if they are real or fake. So if that is something that you would be interested in, leave a comment and let me know. And I can kind of show you some reals versus fakes just to give you an idea. But one of the things we kind of look at pin trading is that we buy the pins one time and then we may start a collection and then end up not finishing that collection because we just kind of got bored with it. Or maybe it's one that there's a different one out that we would really rather focus on. And so we'll end up trading the pins that we decided not to finish the collection to try to get the new collection, or, you know, whatever it is. And so you can find a lot of different kinds on the boards and on their lanyards, but you just have to be real careful, because you definitely wouldn't want to be spending that much money on real pins to turn around and get fake pins that aren't valued at anything really. So pin trading is a lot of fun. It's definitely something that you spend the money kind of one time or a little bit along to build up your collection. So if you do, like what I was saying, go at the end of the year, buy one of the starter lanyards that has like 6 pins on it with the year, and then take them to different places and trade them, you can actually end up, you might want to keep one pin that has the year on it, but then the other ones that all have the year on it, you might want to trade those for other pins. And then every time you go, if you're able to buy those lanyards for real cheap or online or something like that, then you could definitely end up with a big pin collection. And that's what we've done. We have just bought pins just on sale or at the Character Warehouse or, you know, somewhere like that, that they were all on somewhere that they were on sale, and ended up, you know, trading them for other ones. So that's definitely something you could do. It doesn't cost anything to pin trade other than the pins that you already have. So if it's something that you would like to be able to go to Disney but not have to keep spending money constantly doing stuff, pin trading is one of those things you can do. They have them at the stores. A lot of the cast members will have a lanyard or a little bag with them. You also can go to the resorts and they'll have them at those kind of places. So it's just kind of fun sometimes to spend a little bit of time out of the parks or not really just waiting in line. And that's just one of the things that you can do is pin trading. So like I said, if you want any more information about pin trading, or you would like for me to show you about like how to tell the differences in reals versus fakes, leave a comment, let me know, and I will touch on that at another time. So one of the things that I like to do when I walk into the park is to pick up one of the park map guides. So not only does that help you to be able to see things on the actual paper, you can do it on your phone as well, but sometimes having that paper in your hand just makes things seem a little bit easier. And so also it'll give you something to kind of look at while you're waiting in lines and stuff, to where if you want to try to map out like where you want to go or things you want to do, it's really nice to have them. So we do tend to pick up these little maps that they have when you walk in, and it will give you all kinds of information. So while we were there, the holidays were going on. It also gives you information about like their app. So it talks to you about like single riders and multi-pass and lightning lane and all the different things that they have going on. But also if there's any kind of like food that's going on, it will show you that too, like the peppermint and stuff right there. But when you open these up, it shows you the actual map of the parks, and it tells you where everything is located and kind of shows you how to get there. And I love these maps. Like I said, you can see these on your phone when you do like the Disney app, but sometimes it's just nice to be able to have it in your hand, to be able to see it all at one time. And so I always pick one of these up. Now, you can also use these as part of your souvenirs if you end up doing like scrapbooks or anything like that, or if you end up putting up a collage or anything, you can do that like a shadow box. You could always end up adding these to it. And so I end up usually picking up a couple of these before we leave. Like I have 2 of this one. So if I wanted to put it in a shadow box, and then maybe I wanted to end up using one to frame maybe for like my shelves or something, I could have one to put in a frame to put up there. But I always end up picking these up, and it's nice over the years to be able to look at them and see like the differences and things that have changed, because you really don't think about it, but it changes so much because they end up adding new things and taking away some of the old things, which is kind of sometimes sad, but they'll end up replacing it usually with something just as good or better. And so it's nice to have these just to bring back, and they're free. They don't cost you anything once you get into there. So one of the things I recommend is that you pick up some of these. I also have the one from California Adventures. So they also had like the food festival going on while we were there. And so not only did they have this map that gives you all the information and stuff about, you know, what's going on and where to find it all. It shows you the different lands, and this is your map for the area. And it does tell you about like a couple of the food items, but they also have this one that they will do, or one similar depending on what's going on at the time. So we were there during Festival of the Holidays, so this is the celebration guide. And so it tells you about like how you can buy their Sip and Save or Sip and Savor Pass. And so it tells you like the places you can eat and use it, and it shows you the locations of where everything is. And so I definitely recommend picking these up, because not only is it a map of something that you can keep for your scrapbook or just, you know, for memories, but it's kind of nice to have them in the parks with you sometimes too, because the apps are great, but, you know, cell phones and electronics and all that, in the end, sometimes they just don't work like they're supposed to. So if you're having a glitch or anything going on with a phone, picking up those maps is always something that I do recommend because you can have it with you to be able to use it and then bring it back. So it's one of those little free souvenirs and one of those little tips that I love to have with me at all times. And I just put them in the backpack, or you can fold it up and put it into like your bum bag, fanny pack, crossbody, whatever, or even your pocket if you needed to. And then if you wanted one that wasn't folded up and used before you leave, you can always pick one up as you're leaving out to take home with you. So that's just one of the little things I recommend. And definitely the Disney app. Like, make sure you have it downloaded and that you have your tickets and everything already linked in before you go, because it's definitely necessary. So while we're talking about the festival of the holidays, which is food, I'm going to go ahead and get into some of my favorite foods and some of the foods that I didn't really like while we were there. So I had been hearing a lot about how Disney was really known for, or Disneyland was really well known for their street corn. I only found one place that actually had street corn while we were there, and it was the one that had the chili, lime, and butter. Now, if you like corn on the cob, you're going to love these because in the end, it's corn on the cob with flavor on them. They have several different ones that you can get at different locations, but I did only come across that one without actually like trying to spend all my effort trying to locate all the other ones. And so I ended up picking up that one, and it really was very good. It's definitely a sweet corn, and that chili lime flavor on it just ended up giving it a little bit of a kick, which I truly enjoyed. So if you are a corn on the cob person and having corn on the cob get stuck in your teeth for a few minutes isn't going to bother you, then I definitely try it. However, I also recommend taking the little toothpick things with you to where you can get that out of your teeth when you get done. But yeah, it was great. So I would definitely get it again. I am also a very big fan of the Mickey beignets. So if you go to Disney World, you go to the French Quarters at the Riverside Resort, and they have the Mickey beignets, and they are amazing. You can get sets of 3 or 6, and they are so good. They're huge. They're wonderful. They're dipped in, or they're covered with powdered sugar. They come in a bag if you get them to go, or you can get them in the tray if you're going to stay there. I like getting them in a tray and just finding a seat to where you can like not get the powdered sugar all over every single thing, but you can continue to dip it in the powdered sugar that's in the tray. But getting them in a bag is just as great. You can shake them up in the bag and you can eat them. They're so good. Don't let them sit, and don't think taking them back and letting them get cold is good, because they get rock hard. But as long as you can eat them while they're hot, they are amazing. And while we were there, they actually had a specialty one that they were doing where the powdered sugar had peppermint in it. I didn't know if I would like it or not. I loved it. So we ended up just getting the regular Mickey beignets and then asking for some of the peppermint powder on the side. So it was really covered in just the regular one, and we were just dipping it into the one with the peppermint, and it was the perfect amount of peppermint per bite of beignet. So yes, it's making me wish I had some more of them. I absolutely love them, but you just can't really go wrong with the Mickey beignets if you like beignets at all. They are the best ones I think I have ever had. So yes, definitely try the beignets if you go to Disneyland or World, either one. They're amazing. One of the other things that we tried was over at California Adventure, and there is a corn dog booth over there. And you're probably thinking, I'm not going to Disney to eat a corn dog. I wouldn't go to Disney to eat a corn dog either because I don't like hot dogs. But at the corn dog stand, they actually have a cheddar cheese block that is rolled in the corn dog like goodness on the outside and then deep fried. Oh my. So we actually thought we were going to get one to share. By the time we got over there, I was so hungry. I was like, no, just let's just get one each and not worry about it. I'm so glad we did, because I am not going to lie, I devoured that cheddar cheese block. It was so good. Don't put anything on it. Just bite into it and you will see the cheddar cheese goodness that is in it. Is just rolled or dipped into a corn dog batter and deep fried, and oh my goodness, I would eat those every day if I had the chance to. It's a good thing I don't work there, because between the Mickey beignets and that cheddar cheese on a stick, yeah, that's what I would be eating every day until I was just so sick of it I couldn't look at them anymore. So good. And it's not really something that you think about like ever finding or eating or trying or anything like that. But once we did, yeah, I'll definitely get it again if and when I go back. But I can only hope that Florida gets those, because they were so good. So good. Cheddar cheese on a stick. Great. As far as the food goes and having anything that I really didn't like, I'm a huge fan of macarons, But for some reason, the Festival of Holiday macarons were all filled with like a buttercream interior. I don't really like that. I like macarons to have like an actual like filling. So whether it is like a fruit filling or whether it is like a cream cheese of a sort or peanut butter, cream cheese or something like that. I really like them to have like a good filling, not just buttercream. And for some reason, all of the ones that were there for Festival of the Holidays, they all just seem to have the buttercream filling. And I'm talking like that thick of buttercream inside of the macarons. I wasn't a fan of that. That just makes it too sweet. And so we did try them, but I really couldn't rank them like I really wanted to because it was just too sweet. It was sickly sweet. Like that much buttercream is just too much. And the macarons are huge when they get them to you. Like we ended up having the alien macaron, it was the alien reindeer macaron, the Mickey macaron, and it seems like there was another one, but I know those two for sure, and they ended up all having the same filling inside them. They were exactly the same. And we got some over at California Adventure, and we got some at Disneyland. They were just the same filling, so we didn't even try any of the other ones because none of the other ones had any different fillings in them. They were all the same. So I do love macarons. I do not like the ones that have buttercream inside of them. They're just too sweet. So sadly, I was really hoping to rank that real high, but I think that has to go at the bottom of my list for, what I liked as far as the foods went while we were there. So sadly, the macaron was on the bottom. So then we went on most of the rides. So I do love theme park rides. I love going on ones that I trust. I don't just go on like if a carnival comes to town, I will not go on those rides. But going on ones that are at theme parks that have been there for a long time and are noted for security, I do go on their rides. And so we went on most of them. And there are a lot that are the same in Orlando as they are in California. But my favorite on the California Adventure side is going to definitely have to be Incredicoaster because it is amazing if you love a roller coaster. It's just the coolest thing. And I also love the Radiator Springs Racers, which is the Cars attraction. That is so much fun. And I'll definitely have to add Guardians into that as well. It is the same as Tower of Terror, if you've ever been on that one in Orlando. But adding the aspect of Guardians of the Galaxy into it definitely made it a lot more fun to me. I actually liked it a lot more than I did Tower, just because it was more of a fun thing than a scary type of thing. And so I really enjoyed it. Now, over on the Disneyland side of it, I had rides over there that I really loved as well. Indiana Jones is one that is not in Orlando, and I did like it. I really did. It is kind of the same track as Dinosaur in Animal Kingdom, but it's definitely a different look at it because you don't get to see all of the things that you get to see while you're in Indiana Jones as when you're in Dinosaur. Dinosaur stays dark, and so you really can't see anything except for the dinosaurs. And Indiana Jones actually has a lot more lighting effects to it, so you can see a lot more of the actual ride. So it was a lot of fun. I really did enjoy it. We ended up going on it several times, as we did the other ones also. But yeah, so it's great. I do enjoy it. Their Pirates of the Caribbean is actually different than it is in Orlando. It's longer, and I really enjoy it too. I always like to go on Pirates while we're in Orlando. So if you're a fan of Pirates of the Caribbean, you definitely need to try that one. And then my other one is also found in Orlando, but it's definitely different as well. And that's Big Thunder Mountain. So if you've ever been on Big Thunder Mountain, you'll know it's just a fun rickety railroad roller coaster, and it's just a blast. Now, I'm saying those are my favorite, but you've got to know I love all the rides. We went on Matterhorn. We went on It's a Small World. We went on everything over in Star Wars, most of the things in Fantasyland, most of them in Frontierland. Like we went on almost everything. So I enjoy them all, but those are probably my top favorites as far as like all the rides go. So yeah, I definitely recommend them, but I can recommend almost every one of them because I really don't have any of them that I actually don't like. So as far as that goes, and we go on the kid rides as well as the adult rides. So if you've been watching any of the POVs that I've been putting out for the rides, those are actually film footage that we took while we were there. So you're getting to see what I got to see. So make sure you check those out, and you can see almost all of the rides that we went on. Now, I didn't film on every single ride just because I don't trust myself to not drop a camera. But yeah, so the ones that I did feel like I could do without causing any damage or ruining the fun, I definitely did. So make sure you keep checking those out because we put up quite a few, and then I still have a lot to come because they're just not finished yet. And I have a few other things that I wanted to get put up for you guys because I feel like it's more time sensitive. So we'll definitely still have a lot more coming. So one of the things that I definitely want to touch on also is that Disney is expensive. We know that. So one of the things that we do to help with the cost on Disney is I actually have one of the Disney Visa cards, and I try to use it whenever I can. I have two of them that I use. I actually have three cards that I use the most, but I definitely use my Disney Visa as much as I can because when we go to Disney, you end up getting a rewards card that you can use to pay for stuff while you're at Disney with your points. And so before we get ready to go, I will always load all those points onto my rewards card. And so most of the food that we ate while we were there, we didn't actually have to pay for because I had enough credit on my rewards card to pay for a lot of that food. And so that definitely comes in handy whenever you're trying to go on trips like this. So it's expensive to go. And if you look at it like, you know, you're paying for the food and stuff while you're there, then it's definitely going to be even more expensive. But if you can get one of the Disney Visa cards and you can use it for your everyday expenses, then I definitely recommend that because when you're there, you can utilize that to not have to pay all that extra money out of pocket. So, and not only that, but anytime you buy merchandise and you use the Disney Visa card, it will give you 10% off. And anytime you get like the sit down restaurants, it'll give you 10% off of it as well. So make sure that you think about something like that. And as long as you're paying for it every time you use it in a day-to-day basis, you won't rack up any kind of interest. You'll just be paying for stuff that you would be paying for anyway. You'll just get the rewards at the end. So I definitely recommend that. I also have a Southwest credit card that I use, so I use it whenever I can also, and then I use it to pay for our flights with the reward points on it. So you might want to think about something like that also if you're going to be traveling. And not only do they do it, but Universal Studios also has their own Visa card, and I have that one as well. And so whenever you go to Universal, they do the same thing. They will give you 10% off with your card, and you'll also have like points that you can use while you're there to be able to purchase merchandise and food and stuff with. So those are just some of my little tips and tricks that I do for us to be able to afford to do some of the traveling that we do, is by thinking, okay, well, I have to pay for food, fuel, you know, everything that I do on a day-to-day basis. And I just end up using those cards and then paying them just like I would if it was coming on, you know, off of a debit card anyway. And then I just get to keep those points to be able to use. So if you're going to travel and you're thinking about doing something or starting traveling, you definitely want to look and see if you can find one of their points cards, because to me, in the long run, they're definitely worth it as long as you don't let any of the money go month to month and end up having to pay interest on them. So one of the things I wanted to talk about is the rides that they have. So if you're going and you're taking small kids, I definitely recommend that you check out like some of the videos that we've already posted before, because some of the rides, even though children can go on them, they are a little bit scary. So even though it may not be like a true roller coaster and it may just be like an inside ride, they're a little frightening. So one of the things, like, so let's just talk about Pinocchio. Like, the movie Pinocchio is pretty sad and scary as it is by itself, just thinking about like the actual like way that the movie goes. And so inside the ride is no less scary because it's all kind of jumping into your face, and it's the boys turned into donkeys to work in the mines. Like, I mean, that stuff is there. And so the things that you see in the movies are definitely in the ride. And so just know that go into it with caution, because there are a lot of the rides that you think, okay, well, let's do this because all these people are in line for it, that it may end up frightening your child if you have them with you. So I go as an adult and I am not ashamed of it. But if I were going as a child, I think I'd be a little bit scared of some of them. So definitely, like, Alice in Wonderland is a little bit scary. Pinocchio, like Mr. Toad, like there's a lot of them that you can go on that are easy to ride because they're just on the little track inside the building. There's no drops or turns or twists or anything that are major, but they can be scary. So that's one thing that I wanted to kind of point out was it is Disney and you're not really thinking about it being scary, but also try to put yourself in the shoes of like a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old or however old your child is, and just try to think, do you think they will be scared, and is it something worth you having to stay up all night with them for in the end? Because they may have nightmares. So just like I said, might want to check out like all of the POVs of the rides that we've done, just so that you can get an idea on what they're like before you go. just to be prepared. Okay, so I think that's pretty much everything. I definitely want to show you what I got, but as far as the trip goes, like I said, I really didn't get much. Not only was I kind of upset to start with about the whole thing, you know, about going in, but also when you get to the point where I am about collecting things and having things, you just kind of ask yourself, do I have room in my collection for that? Is that something that goes along with the stuff in my collection? And is it something that I think I will want to keep for years to come? Because if not, I don't need to get it. And so I really have to be cautious at this point. So I used to collect magnets, ornaments, all that stuff every time we would go somewhere. And then the side of my refrigerator is completely full of magnets from travel. And so I actually did not get any magnets this time while we were there. I didn't pick up any ornaments either because this last year, past 2 years, I've just done the Harry Potter tree. So I haven't even put up my Disney ones. Next year, I'll probably put up a Disney tree and a Harry Potter tree. But, you know, I was just sitting here thinking, I've got ornaments that date back like 20 years. And so I have a ton of them. So I really don't need to just keep getting them just to get them. And so when you look at Disney prices and you look at ornaments and stuff, is it really worth it in the end is what you have to ask yourself. Yes, it's something you'll use every year, but is it worth the price that they have on them? So sometimes the answer is yes, but if the answer is I don't know or maybe, then I don't get it. So I really have to like kind of put myself into that mind whenever I go in because there are so many shops to be able to buy things and it can get very overwhelming and you can spend so much money. So one of the things that I do as far as getting souvenirs goes, when I first go there and I see something that I really like, I take a picture of it and I take a picture of the tag. So that way if something happens and I come back and that's not available, if I still have that tag information, they can usually look it up and see if it's located in any of the other shops on property. And if it's not, they can look and see if it's available at Shop Disney online or a way for them to have it shipped to you. So if it's something that you really want to get but that does run out, then you have a chance to still be able to get it somehow. So what I do is I go through and I take pictures of everything and then I kind of eliminate them. So that evening I'll go through and I'll look at the pictures again and I'll try to figure out like, did I really love this that much? Or was it just something that I saw that looked different or new or whatever and I thought I needed it? So then I kind of try to like weed out the ones that I don't really want and I keep the ones that I do. And then each day that we go back to different areas, I'll keep taking those pictures. And then the very last day is when I actually buy souvenirs. I don't buy them throughout the time just because one, you don't want to have to carry all of the stuff around with you all day long. It's something that you definitely want to be able to get as you're leaving the park to where you can leave it in the room or not have to just tote it around continuously. So I try not to get anything before we're leaving for the night. And so anything that I take pictures of, I then will keep looking at them just to make sure. And then I usually end up getting the top few favorites that I really think I would use, want, need, or something like that. So with me doing my new Disney shelves, I was really trying to think of things that I would use on those shelves. And sadly, I didn't really find some of the things that I really wanted. Like one of the things I would love to have is like a prop replica type thing of the Pirates of the Caribbean and Haunted Mansion and any of like the attractions. And they don't have anything like that there. They had like a replica or something of Pirates, I definitely would have gotten it. I kept looking for something that I could bring back to put on a shelf for Pirates, and there was nothing there. Like, you know, you can get the ears and stuff, but as far as like a replica or something goes to like put on a shelf, there's just nothing. And so I was really kind of disappointed in that because it wasn't just Pirates, but it was all of them. There was nothing there. Like they don't sell Department 56 there. They don't sell the UNESCO. They don't have, you know, any of like the actual replica type things, like nothing. And so I just knew that I didn't really want to do that. So if you've seen my video about the Department 56 Haunted Mansion, I have it for Disneyland, which is fixing to go up on the shelves that we're fixing to put up. But I couldn't see buying anything else because I didn't really have anything that I could put on display. So what I did end up getting were, since you know that I carried that crossbody fanny pack bum bag with me, I kind of felt like the best thing I could have gotten while we were there were some of those bags. And they had some large ones, which were bigger than the one that I had. And I actually was wishing that I had a little bit bigger because then anything you buy, you can kind of fit it in there too. And so I ended up picking up some. So this is the first one that I got. This is one that is for Disneyland. And so it is embroidered. I'm just going to try to kind of open it up here a little bit to where you can see it a little bit better. But if you see, it has like what represents Disneyland. So there's the Pixar Pal Realm, and then that's Guardians ride, which used to be the Tower of Terror. Then, of course, you have the castle, and then there's Matterhorn. So these are the 4 things that actually represent them, and you can see that it is embroidered, and it's a beautiful bright blue, and the interior is gold, and the zippers are gold. Now, these were a little bit pricey, I thought, for what they are, but again, I got 10% off of them, which isn't much. This was almost $40. So I got it, but on the back, it also has another big zipper pocket. For me to get these and to be able to use them when we go like to parks and places like that, of course I can use this every day, but you know, just to have these, I thought this was probably one of the best things that I could get. I could have gotten a t-shirt, I could have gotten a sweatshirt or whatever. I have all that kind of stuff though already. I mean, as you can see, I'm wearing, you know, Mickey right now, so I have a lot of that kind of stuff, and I wanted stuff that I didn't have. And one of the things that I found was I was having issues trying to find a bag that was big enough to put things in, that if I bought stuff while I was there, I could ball up a t-shirt or something and put it in here too, like along with all of my other stuff. Like, that's how big it is. But it has like a big pocket inside, and then it's got some smaller pockets inside here also. So it definitely has a good amount of room in there. And of course, the famous Disney CVS receipt tags, you know, that's what they're known for. But anyway, so I ended up getting this one, and it does say Disneyland on this strap, but I really like them. You can make it long and do it as like the big crossbody, but you can also wear it as like the bum bag fanny packy if you want to. But I just kind of felt like this was something that would be like my best option for stuff for me to get. So I got that, and then I ended up getting it, but I actually saw this one first, and I really wanted it just because I love the look of it. And so I just couldn't leave without getting it, and I kept telling myself I really didn't need it. And then lo and behold, I decided to look online to see if I could see any like it, and people were selling these on eBay for over $100 a piece. So I was like, I'm going to go ahead and get it. Now, this one was more. This one was $49.99. So, of course, I did get 10% off. Now, I did still have some money on my Disney Visa gift card, or my Disney Visa reward card. So I ended up using it on this as well. So I ended up not having to pay as much for it. But it does have, it's a beautiful teal green color. And then it does have the same pattern inside there. And of course, your Disney CVS receipt tag. But it has all the extra pockets like the other one does. And so it has a lot of room in here. I love how the outside is made out of like it's almost satin and velvet feeling. But it's just beautiful. And then this is stones. I don't know if that's coming across or not, but these are like stones on there. So they're really pretty. Like it's like a metal. And so it's really, really pretty. And the back of it is the same way as the other one. It has the pocket on the back zip. And so you definitely have a lot of room in these. And I just kind of felt like that for me to get something, this is something that I would use and be able to enjoy as well. And so I ended up choosing to get these over shirts or any kind of other souvenirs, just because I felt like I would use these. And I also have, if you haven't seen those videos, like the displays that I have for my Loungeflies, I have those in these specific little clear containers that stay out all the time. So you can kind of see there's some over here that have like my Wizarding World Loungeflies in them, but they're clear, and then you can put everything in them. Well, I have some that actually set the other direction, and so they're long and short. So I can fill these with paper and put them in it, and then put them with my Disney shelves that are going to be over here. I can put them up on top, and so that is something that I can still have them to see, but then I can also use them when we travel. So that's why I ended up choosing those over any of the other ones, or over any of the other items. I just really couldn't find anything that I really, really wanted, and not being able to find something to put on my shelves that I felt like was something that I would want and want to keep is kind of really where I was kind of hung up on it, because as a collector, I'm looking for those collectible items, not really just the stuff, you know, like you can find tons of stuff, but trying to find like replicas, like a cool like pirate ship, or, you know, anything that actually was like, you know, a collectible item for pirates, it just wasn't anything to be found. And it wasn't just pirates that I was looking for. Like if I could have found anything for any of the attractions, whether it was Tiana's or Big Thunder Matterhorn, any of them, like nothing. There was just nothing like that. And there is a beautiful glass store that they have, and they have a lot of stuff that you can get that is like covered in Swarovski crystals and cut out of glass and things like that. They have it on Disneyland side. They have two on the Disneyland side. And I think they had one also at California Adventure. Not sure, but I think they did. But they just really didn't have anything like what I was looking for. If you wanted the characters, they definitely had stuff like that, but those things are very expensive. So if you wanted to get started into that, just know like the little small crystal pieces were like $30, and the big ones that were covered in like Swarovski, and I say big, they're not very big, they're very small, were like $200. So you could definitely get stuff like that, but that wasn't what I was looking for either. Like I wasn't looking for like any of like the Disney character like people or anything like that. So later on I may decide to start collecting something like that, but for now, no, not yet. So the next trip that we have coming up may be something in the next couple of months or the next month. I'm not real positive on that yet. We're still kind of looking at some new places to go. I definitely would like to get back to Orlando. We have Epic Universe that's going to be opening this year, so I definitely want to go to Epic. However, right now with the tickets, the way that they're going is you buy a multi-day pass. Those multi-day passes get you into all the other parks, and you only get to go into Epic one time. I don't want to do that because I have annual pass for, for Universal Studios Orlando and for Islands of Adventure and Volcano Bay, so I don't need passes to be able to get into that. I only need passes for Epic. So I'm definitely going to wait until Epic allows us to be able to go into that park more, to where I can go and spend several days there before we attempt to go. I want to make sure that I can enjoy it and not just be like trying to run through and do everything I can in one day, because it's going to be very nice and I want to be able to enjoy it, not just be stressed out over it. So we will be going, but we're not going to be going yet. So right now, we're trying to get our thoughts together on what's next. I definitely want to get back out to California to be able to do Universal Hollywood and the Warner Brothers tour. We're also talking about a trip to Europe, but that's not going to be anytime soon because it's going to be a time thing. And so when we do go to Europe, I want to be able to do, Disneyland Paris and hit multiple areas while we're in Europe. And that's going to take a lot of time. So it's going to be something that we would definitely have to be able to be gone for a couple of weeks or so to be able to do that. So right now we don't have that much time that we can take to be able to go. So our next trip is definitely going to be in the US, and we need to try to figure out somewhere that, we want to go to be able to film and get some content. So if there's anywhere that you would like for us to go or anywhere that you can recommend, please leave a comment and let us know. We have been multiple places, but, we're always looking for somewhere else to go. And if there's something that you can recommend, then definitely do that because we would love to check it out. So I guess that is it. That kind of brings you up to everything. I'm still a little upset with Disneyland, but every day it gets less and less. I mean, it's not worth the stress or the upset over for something like that, I understand, but it's just the moral of what happened, and just the knowing that I was right and they were wrong and they still did it just kind of is what goes all over me. But yeah, so anyway, it happens. You gotta let it go. So anyway.
Yeah, you don't have to charge it. Can you see the big thing?
Yeah. Sign up?
Hey, look to your right.
It is
Sorry.
Hey, the sun's coming out.
We got the Incredibles. Incredibles. Is that what their names are? Yeah.
See you over at Radiator Springs Racers. Come on, if you love the holidays, rev your engine. I am speed, I am lightning, ka-chow. Float like a Cadillac, sting like a Beamer.
Is that correct? It's like back there. It's like the nation.
Hello everyone, welcome aboard the Disneyland monorail. We are now beginning a 2.5-mile journey to downtown Disney Station and back. For a safe trip, remain seated, keeping your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the cabin. Be sure to watch your children and no smoking, please.
Bienvenidos. Para su seguridad, permanezca sentado y mantenga las manos, brazos, pies y piernas dentro del tren y cuide a los niños. Por favor, se ruega no fumar.
You are riding aboard the Mark 7, the latest generation of Disneyland monorails. When Walt Disney introduced this attraction in 1959, it was the first daily operating monorail system in the Western Hemisphere. Just ahead is Disney California Adventure, where you'll find Disney stories told in unique and exciting new ways. That towering fortress in the distance is home to the Taban Collection, where the collector showcases his newest acquisitions, the Guardians of the Galaxy. We're now passing Grizzly Peak, land of scenic wonders, where you can experience the beauty and exhilaration of free flight in soaring. Coming into view is Disney's Grand Californian Hotel and Spa. This imaginary masterpiece was inspired by the state's natural wonders and features the arts and crafts style of the 19th century. We are now arriving at downtown Disney Station. gateway to the downtown Disney District and the Disneyland Resort Hotels. If you will be leaving us here and returning later today, please hold on to your park ticket as you leave the station. You may reboard the monorail for a return trip to Tomorrowland up until 1/2 hour prior to Disneyland closing. Please remain seated until the monorail comes to a complete stop and the doors have opened. Then gather your belongings, lower your head, watch your step, and exit to the left of the monorail. Thanks for traveling with us today, and we hope you enjoy your visit to the Disneyland Resort. For those of you continuing with us, we'll
With that being said, have a wonderful day, and remember, we love you.